Many of us know John Wesley to be the father of the Methodist Church. Yet before the birthing of a new movement, Wesley went on a journey of discovering his faith. John Wesley was born on June 17, 1703, to Samuel and Susanna Wesley. John, being the 15th of 19 children, lived in a home that practiced very strict religious values due to his father being an Anglican pastor. When he was only 5 years of age, Wesley was miraculously saved from a burning house that almost took his life. Because of this happening, his mother always believed that God was going to use his son in a profound way. When he was a teenager, Wesley passed by a man who had joy that overflowed continuously. Just by that passing, he began to question his faith and what he believed in. The Lord marked Wesley that day, which caused him to fast, pray, and discipline himself to find more of God. It wasn't until Wesley decided to go to Oxford in 1720, where he became ordained as a deacon in the Anglican Church. There he grew big on the holiness movement and decided to start a club with his brother Charles Wesley. This club was called the Holy Club. They religiously met every day from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., praying and reading the Bible. They fasted on Wednesdays and Fridays and reached out to the least. Because of their methods, they came up for the holiness and sanctification from one sin. Many people began to call them the Methodists. In 1735, Wesley decided to sail to America to share the gospel to the Native Americans. While he was on his way, a storm arose. Wesley was astonished when he observed Moravian missionaries at peace in God, an assurance of salvation in the midst of a storm. This stage in Wesley's life became a defining moment where he began re-evaluating his theological beliefs. He later met another Moravian named Peter Böhler, who challenged him to believe that works could not save anyone, but only faith alone. John and his brother Charles was moved by this teaching and repented of their former theological beliefs, and for the first time, both felt an assurance of salvation. Shortly after, the Great Awakening was launched. On Monday, January 1st, 1739, Wesley writes, Mr. Hall, Kinchin, Ingham, Whitfield, Hutchins, and my brother Charles were present at our love feast in Fitter Lane, with about 60 of our brethren. About 3 in the morning, as we were continuing instant in prayer, the power of God came mightily upon us, insomuch that many cried out for exceeding joy, and many fell to the ground. As soon as we were recovering a little from that awe and amazement at the presence of His Majesty, we broke out with one voice, We praise Thee, O God. We acknowledge Thee to be the Lord. Wesley and Whitfield began open-air preaching, where he shared about receiving salvation only through faith and not by works. While sharing the gospel, many people would fall out in the glory and presence of God. Some would tremble exceedingly, others had strong convulsions all over their body. Some would groan, and others would cry on the Lord with tears filling their eyes. Many others were led into extraordinary trances of heaven and hell. Whitfield was a bit concerned at what was happening in Wesley's meetings and stepped away from their friendship for a while. It wasn't until Whitfield began seeing the fruit of Wesley's ministry in so many people and chose not to let divisions separate them. They had a beautiful bond that showed unity in the midst of diversity. Wesley was also known for extreme persecution, yet God's hand miraculously sheltered him every time. In February of 1748, a mob came towards the home of Wesley and some of his followers, throwing rocks through their window. Wesley and the others hid by the staircase when the mob suddenly broke into their house. Wesley began to pray to God, and as he was, the mob passed right by them. The Lord miraculously made Wesley and his men invisible to those who were persecuting them. This is just one of the many stories that God did through the life of John Wesley. So, though we know him as the father of the Methodist movement, John marked a beautiful path for future generations to now build on, as his ceiling is now our floor.